Hello, everyone, and welcome to D20 Woodworking. And today we are doing another Reddit reply. First thing I gotta talk about before we even get into that is there is still no Marvel Champions news announcement. Now, for me personally, if you watch some of my other videos, I've talked about this, where I'm okay with them not pumping out content nonstop. But I think this is one of the biggest breaks or gaps between announcement. Maybe when COVID hit, there was a gap in there somewhere. But November 17th was the last time there was a really an announcement with Rogue, and then since then there's been nothing. There actually hasn't been a lot of announcements from them in general, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting to see, and I guess the really first thing is over on our Discord, which is now if you're not a part of, you should be a part of. The link is down below. We talk about LCGs all the time, but it's almost like we're kind of taking bets at this point when we think the next announcement will be. It wouldn't surprise me if they start doing one cycle a year for Marvel Champions, just because doing two a year is a lot. And over the course of Fantasy Flight's LCG games, generally speaking, it's always been one cycle a year, right? Arkham follows this. Lord of the Rings have followed this. Arkham kind of looks like it's two, but it's because they're re-releasing an old one and then doing a new one, which takes a year. So it is a lot to do two in a year. So I kind of wonder if they're like slowing down and cutting back a little bit on that. It wouldn't surprise me too much. It kind of stinks if you're looking forward to new stuff all the time. But as a content creator, I'm okay with it to be completely honest. So anyway, okay, let's go to the first one. This is going to be, I think, pretty much all of Marvel Champions subreddits today. So let's dive in the first one. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see. Having a lot of fun with Hulk and looking for tips. I know he's considered the worst character in the game. Hey, we just talked about this. But I just played my first game with him against Rhino. I lost, and I had a lot of fun. Are there any tips of how I can improve him other than getting Spider, which is kind of the biggest tip, right, to get him? But a lot of people talk about different ways to play him with protection. Let me bring that down. With desperate defense, which does make sense. I've heard a lot of people talk about protection Hulk is a good way to play him. Justice Hulk does work pretty well. I've done basic Hulks which work all right, but it is cool to see that there's a lot of people that are still getting into Hulk and enjoy it, right? Like I just did a video about this recently, but I really do like Hulk. I think he's a lot of fun. I know a lot of people want to try to house rule him or anything, and I get that. But anyway, I just want to point that out. I think it's kind of cool, and I want to know for you all, are there older heroes that you haven't gotten that you're finally getting now? Like I know Spider-Ham was a hero that a lot of people skipped. I don't know if Hulk was, um, you know, got into that or whatever. But were there heroes that you skipped previously that you're finally getting into now, or not so much? So, all right, next up. They ask about the Fantasy Flight Games update rules reference book. So for those that don't know, I believe the last one's 1.4, right? Rules reference. And they kind of talk about it a little bit in here, and they say that with Star Wars, some people believe they had to get approval from I guess Disney, who owns Star Wars, had to get approval from them, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to do that. But there is truth to that because, for example, let's see where they have it. Here's an explainer of the new April 2021 rules guide of 1.4, right? So April, that's where we're working on almost 2 years old. If you go to the latest rulings in Hall of Heroes, they start in May 2022, where they start like asking questions, and you can send in a question to at first it was, I guess it's always been Alex since then. I think before that it was like Caleb or whomever. But Alex is kind of taken over. And I mean, we're what, in June of 2022, and they're gonna keep coming. And there's like serious rules updates in here, right? It's not just like small, like, oh, how would this scenario work? Those questions are there, but there are things that have drastically changed the game and how it works. And it's kind of interesting that they still haven't done a full-blown rules update. Maybe they do it in April, right? I mean, that would be officially 2 years since the previous rules update, and that could be something. But like I said, I'm still scrolling through this. We're in August now, and when the X-Men come out, a lot of rules come up. But it's kind of crazy. This does have a lot of changes, and this kind of affects how people play the game, to be completely honest, because a lot of times I try to play, when I do gameplay videos, whatever the most recent rulings are here, but they're hard to like keep track of and keep doing. And I really should be doing off the 1.4 rules, because those are the official rules, and like rules listings on Hall of Heroes aren't really official, but they are. It's like a weird thing. So I guess that's my next question to you all. do you count these all as official rulings? Like every single one of these, would you count them as official and it's a part of the game to keep track of all this stuff? I don't know. I know arguments for both of them, and I'm not necessarily opposed to like the argument that, yeah, no, those are the official rulings and that you have to, um, kind of keep up to date on those things and whatever. And then I get the argument too of just like, well, no, like whatever the most recent rule book is when you go to Fantasy Flight's website, right? We can quickly pop over there and check it out. But whatever the most recent ruling is on their website is what you should be using, which is a good argument too, because there are a decent amount of people that don't fully know about Hall of Heroes. So it's kind of not right to like make them have to go to check like a third party website. So I kind of get that too. But yeah, here's the page. Version 1.4. And I don't know when this was updated, but whenever that was, right? I mean, I guess May 18th, 2021 is when this was officially uploaded. So that's a crazy amount of time. That's a crazy amount of time. So I wonder when they're gonna do it. I'm gonna guess around April, May again, and this way it's about a 2-year mark. That seems like a good amount of time to do it, because I guess the previous time was about 2 years, not quite 2 years, but almost. But yeah, so I guess the question to you all is, do you go by the Hall of Heroes rulings, or do you just use whatever the most recent rules is, or do you use the rules that came in your box, right? Which is still the 1.0 ruling. Do you use that still? Last thing that came up was kind of interesting. People talking about getting bored of the game, right? This Christmas they got Sinister Motives. They were looking forward to it. They played two-hand solo, did all the pre-cons, all that stuff, and then it hit them. They were bored. There was no challenge. Put it away. A couple days later, took it out again and made sure to start an expert, and I got the same experience. The thing is, I always play the same way. Develop my board, upgrades and units, maintaining the board, blah, 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 and then start hitting the villain. And they got kind of bored by it. And some people say, you got to switch to true solo, which I guess you could customize the game and change the difficulty, but it doesn't even sound like they have a problem with difficulty, because they said they jumped from standard, I guess, or the impression I got was that it was on standard, then they went to expert. But the thing is, I don't even know if there is a fix to what they're saying, right? I'll be completely honest, because it doesn't sound like it's a difficulty problem, because there's a way to always make this game more difficult, right? If the issue for you is the difficulty of this game, there's always ways to fix that. But they are stating something pretty true with the process of the game. Now, again, you could play rush heroes or different types of heroes where this process changes, but really roughly speaking, the process is, yes, as they say, develop their board, right? Upgrades and supports, maintaining the board, getting rid of threat, and then start hitting the villain, because once you flip the villain, generally you want to go hard at them, right? That is the process of the game. That is how you play the game overall. In I don't know, 70-80% of my games are that. Now, I still enjoy it, right? I still like the figuring out the puzzle of how to get to that point. But when you do break it down in its simplest terms, that is the process you're doing over and over and over. So I kind of feel for this person because I get it. If you watch right now over on Twitch, we haven't streamed Marvel Champions in a while. Right? We haven't streamed Marvel Champions in a while. And I recently just recorded the Sunday morning coffee and board game pre-recording for the premiere that would be live this Sunday, 10 a.m. Make sure to check it out. I just recorded that. It was the first time I played Marvel Champions in a little while. And it was nice to have, honestly, like a 3-week break at this point, 2-3 week break at this point. It's really, really nice. And I do recommend that to people. It's really hard to play one game over and over and over and over. It gets tiresome. It becomes work almost. And it's fine being bored, but if you kind of push through it sometimes, for me, it becomes this thing where I almost resent the game and I just don't want to be a part of it. And I just don't want to do anything else with it. And I know that's not everyone, but that is me. That is how I behave on things. So I know for me, when I get to like the board stage, I have to step away. I have to step away and stop playing the game for a while. And then, maybe I'm not interested, but I do force myself to like, all right, let me pick up the game once again, like I did with Sunday Morning Coffee that I just recorded. And while I was doing it, I was like, oh, that's right. This is one of my favorite games. And I really enjoy this game. And this is really, really great. And sometimes it kicks you back in there. And other times you'll play it and you'll still be bored. And maybe you have to take a longer break from it. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There really isn't. So as far as what this person's saying of just getting they got the core set not way back, but in Christmas of 21, they've been playing regularly. It could be a lot. It could be a lot playing this game over and over and over. So I ask all of you for the final question, have you experienced fatigue with this game? Either in kind of playing the same exact thing over and over, have you had to take extensive breaks, anything like that? Have you just had to put the game down for an extensive period of time? Let me know down in the comments. And while you're letting me know all these answers down in the comments, make sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe, all that stuff helps. And final reminder, this Sunday, a live premiere, well, it's not live, it's a premiere video of Sunday morning coffee and board games. We are doing, I'm doing Miles Morales versus the Sinister Six on Expert. It was a really, really fun scenario to play. You'll be able to hang out with a bunch of other people live. You'll be able to live chat with all of them. I'll be in the chat, so I'll be there chatting. And if you do miss it, it'll still become, a regular video, so you can still check it out like you would any of my other videos. So anyway, really excited about that, but make sure you hit subscribe so you know when my stuff goes live or you get notifications. I think there's a bell. You can hit that too, whatever. You know all the stuff for YouTube. And yeah, that's everything. So let me know all your comments down below, and I will see you all next time.